Welcome to this conversation brought to you by White House Custom Color. I'm Jed Toffer, and today I'm speaking with someone I've known of for a while, but only just met, Kira Derryberry. Kira, how's it going?
It's going great. It's day one of convention.
It is
awesome.
day one at Imaging USA 2018 in Nashville.
Yes.
This is the third time, I think, that we've been here. Is that
I
right?
think, well, it's my second Nashville convention, but I think it's the third time, but that may not be historically accurate.
2010, I think, was the first one, and then there was one in there somewhere.
Yes.
But I don't remember what year it was.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2016?
I think so.
2016? You might be right.
It's all running together.
They do.
They do run together. There are memories that I have from past imagings that I'm like, wait, was that in Arizona? Was that in Texas? I can't remember because these hotels, they start to, except for this one's actually really.
This one does stand out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This one is really cool. The biodome.
It's very unique. You don't leave. You just.
I haven't seen the sun since Thursday. So, I mean, what is today? Sunday? Yeah. No, I literally, I've obviously can see outside, but I have not been physically outside.
Well, you're very busy though at this one in particular.
Yes.
You're on the board.
Right.
PPA board.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how is that for you?
It's fantastic. I get to work on some of the things that I think are so important for photographers, and I get to work on it at a level that I can actually help people.
Like you feel like you're making a difference.
Yes, it's so rewarding, and I'm like I was telling you earlier, I just almost have completed my first year, and it's been eye-opening. It's been enlightening. It's just been a pleasure. It's been a joy to be a part of this, and I hadn't really wrapped my head around. I've been a member of PPA for a while, but I hadn't really wrap my head around the number. We have over 30,000 members.
Is it that high now?
It is. And it's growing. I mean, that was the last time I was told, and that wasn't recently.
Right.
It just keeps growing. And that I think in the beginning was I was a bit awestruck by that, because you come to convention.
There was that many people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people at convention, and you realize you kind of get the gravity of it, but you really, now I have this, it's so impactful on me how many people are part of PPA and how many people are benefiting from the education we put out there and the business tools we put out there. And I don't know, I just love it. I've really enjoyed it.
I like PPA because of the nonprofit feeling.
Yeah.
The non-profitness.
The non-agenda feelingness of it. Yeah. I mean, we're really just out there to help our fellow photographer. We're an advocate for, for all you guys. And
and PPA has a pretty big voice too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are, I wouldn't go so far to maybe even say lobbying, but we're out there for you, trying to make change at a huge level for you that benefits everybody. I mean, copyright, for example, which is such a huge topic. I mean, we are working on Capitol Hill to make it to protect your rights, and I'm really excited to be a part of that.
So being on the board has gone pretty smooth for you.
Yeah, I mean it's been a smooth transition. I've had some wonderful people. The rest of my fellow board members have really helped train and coach me. We also receive a lot of training. There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware that the board of directors go through. Because you're just
like not the hazing,
the cloaks. We drink from the chalice. There's that ceremony that we do have, but
besides that,
I get the special skull ring. No, none of that. Everybody on this board and the staff have been so welcoming and wonderful, and I have never been left wondering anything. So I'm never lost. No one's ever left me hanging. I have been well trained, but we receive a lot of leadership training. To help guide us through this, because you may think like, well, what qualifies you to be in charge of something like this? Well, they find people who can help make a difference, and then they make sure that they give them the tools.
Invest in those people.
Yes, and so they are investing in me as they've invested in the rest of us, and I'm very grateful to have that, especially at the age that I am.
Right.
Because I think all of this training and experience is only going to help me.
Going to help you grow. yourself,
help me grow as a person, and I'm so grateful. So,
well, you had an interesting topic when I asked. You said you wanted to talk about leveling up.
Yeah.
And essentially challenging ourselves to learn things outside of our comfort zones.
Yes. All
right. So I get already when people talk about getting outside of my comfort zone.
You don't want to do it.
Well, I just think to myself, I enjoy my comfort zone.
It's comfortable.
Because of that.
It's comfortable, and it's like a cozy pair of sweatpants. You know?
Yes. Yes.
But you don't get super far in the cozy pair of sweatpants. You get about to your front door or your lawn, and then your neighbors look at you. So, you know.
Right. And I'll even go to the store sometimes, which maybe I shouldn't do.
I see clients at the store. I can't go in my sweatpants.
Well, I see them too. I think they kind of look at me sometimes, and to be honest with you, I don't think they're very surprised. But I'm not the face, right? Like
I live in a relative. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a small town, but yeah, I know a lot of people. It's hard for me to go somewhere and not run into clients.
Oh yeah, that doesn't happen where I live. You see somebody everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's not like New York or or something.
Oh no. In fact, I had lunch with a few guys the other day. My dad invited me to this lunch with these older gentlemen, and I had seen every one of their sons within the last 48 hours. But just by happenstance.
Just ran into them.
And I said, I have been with every one of your sons in the last couple of days. Just absolutely out of the blue. It was great. So that's so I wear my sweatpants. I'm seeing everybody that I know. All that being said, as we digress into sweatpants.
I could talk about sweatpants all day. We can go back to that if you want.
But I do that because I am comfortable, and to use your analogy, what if I'm cool just chilling at home in my sweatpants, and if I go to the front door, I go to the front door. Maybe I don't want to go outside.
Right.
What you're saying is,
I'm saying you should go outside.
I should go outside.
And you should put on some real pants.
Yeah, put on some real pants and go outside and be a big boy.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, I love this. I love the sweatpants analogy.
And that's what I'm going to need to do to level up is what I'm getting from you.
Yeah. So I can give you a little background on the whole leveling up idea. Because it's what I'm an indoor kid. I am not an outdoor kid. So by that I mean I played a lot of video games.
Oh, me too.
I'm a big dork.
Yep,
and I like movies, and I like staying inside, and I don't like going outside.
Okay.
In general,
right.
Which makes it hard when most of my clients want to do environmental portraiture. Right. So we do that, but I wear boots to shield me from the elements and stuff. Okay. Like that. So yeah, no.
To shield you, I like it.
To shield me. Well, I live in Florida. There's a snake. Right. There's a snake fear. You know.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't mess around. We're gonna wear. If I could wear them up to my neck, I would. But
Okay.
But yeah, so the leveling up thing comes from me playing all those video games.
Oh.
And yeah.
Funny. I didn't make the connection.
I know, because everyone's
I'm a bit of a gamer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet I didn't make the connection.
Yeah. So for me, and if you track me at all, I like unlocking achievements.
Yes.
I like lists of things that I can attain and get to the thing.
Yep.
It was very much that way for me with PPA, with getting my degrees. I did those relatively quickly. Not because speed was of the essence, but because I really wanted it. And so I worked really hard for it. Right. And it resulted in me getting it pretty quickly.
And you like climbing that ladder.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
not even, I guess I didn't think, I never even understood, like I said, the gravity of being on the board of directors. And it's certainly, the leveling up thing has nothing. That wasn't a goal. Right. I was asked to do that, and I was like, I didn't know that was a thing that I, but now, okay,
yes.
I'll add that to the list. But I guess what I mean is I like new skills and marking things off. I also like to figure out how things are done, and I don't like to be left wondering that. So I might have seen a photograph in a magazine, and I like to deconstruct it and look at the catch lights and figure out what kind of light modifier it would have used. And now I couldn't do any of that stuff at where I was when I started my business, was at an all natural light level. So I was working with available light all the time. And I was also part-time. And when that happened, it was during the crash, the economy crash.
Oh yeah.
So like 09-ish. And so I was working for an advertising agency, and they started not to do well, like everybody,
right.
And there were layoffs, and there were people like me who got cut and put to part-time. And I was working as a web designer then, and I loved it. But I kind of needed to do something else at the same time. So because to make up for the hours I was losing and the income, and we also had a 1-year-old at the time. And, so I was taking pictures of her And I had been a photographer, just, I studied, I went to school for it, but it was all darkroom and digital. I didn't have any idea how to have a business.
So you had some formal training.
I had formal training, yeah.
Regarding the craft.
Right, yes.
Right.
But that did me a lot of good when I shot my first wedding and I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
I had no guidance at all. So I get out of college with this art degree in photography, feeling pretty good about myself, and saying things like, I know digital's big, but this is where it's at. I'll always be in the dark room. And
is that right?
Yeah.
When was that?
That was like 04.
Okay.
03. That would be when I was in college.
Okay.
I graduated in 05.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah. So, we'd spend all this time, we'd smell like chemicals, and we were just like, really, really indulging in that.
Did you look at yourself? And I'm curious about this because at first I thought you were saying that much later. But yes, in the early to middle 2000s, lots of people were still, it's hard for people to understand that that's really where a lot of people were at.
Yeah.
Like, this digital thing's fine, but it's not for me.
No, yeah.
Some people were like, it's not going to catch on.
You can't get the look that I'm getting in this dark room.
Right.
It took me, it would take me all day to get one print that I was satisfied with because I was just a perfectionist with it. And
did you look at yourself as like a purveyor of the craft of photography? And like the digital people were, I just
thought
taking a shortcut.
I felt like it was cheating or something a little bit because I was working so hard to learn these skills. I was in dark closets rolling film onto a reel, and I was just like, this is really, this is work. I'm really doing this, And then, and also digital didn't look like it does now.
That is very true.
It didn't look like it. And so, I was assisting I went to University of Alabama, and I was a student aide to the photography department. So I would go and hold a giant reflector at things and they were shooting digital at the time. And, but I didn't do any of the handling of it. And, whenever I shot digital on the camera I could afford in college, it looked like junk.
Yes.
So I was not convinced at all.
Yeah.
But then I graduate and I'm like, okay, I'm going to now embark on my lifelong dream of being a professional photographer.
Okay.
And not the first clue on how to do that. The only insight I had was a fellow photographer who's here, my friend Allison, who's here at the convention, who I went to college with and is from my hometown and shot my wedding. Allison graduated, I think, the year before me, and she went out and apprenticed for a wedding photographer out in North Carolina. Okay. And I thought, well, that's the only way to do it. Yeah. That's the only way to get somebody who needs to open, you need to go work for free for a studio and apprentice and then learn the ropes. And that just seemed unattainable. Right. I didn't have a connection with a wedding photographer in North Carolina. So anyway, I graduated. I shot, I think, one wedding. It was a horrible, nightmarish time really bad. Not even that the photos were bad, but that I just didn't know. I just didn't know what I was doing at all. I shot it all with film. I was doing the best I could. And, you ever find, do you shoot weddings?
We did.
Okay. See, I definitely don't shoot weddings. And I find it's not people's best day, like in general, like that's maybe not the best day to get the most. Now I have so much respect for wedding photographers because it's so hard. I did it like once and I was like, I'm out, like,
I don't know. Vicky probably shot 100, give or take. And I probably helped her as a second shooter for maybe 20.
I've shot 4. That's it.
Yeah. Well, 20 is nothing either. Right. So you get these people that shoot, 50, 60 weddings a year, and they've been doing it for 20 years. My thing with weddings was, I feel like, yes, there are some people it's the best day of their life and it goes great and it's smooth. And when that happens and like all the cylinders are firing, it's a glorious occasion.
I bet.
For everyone, including the photographer.
Right.
When it's not going well, it is really not going well. Sometimes.
Right. It can really not go well.
Like it goes south.
Right. Fast.
And then you're just like, oh, what in the world am I gonna do?
I know we're getting on a tangent, but like I find that I personally love to just have more one-on-one time with people so I can get to know them and try and pull a relaxed, portrait out of them.
Right.
And I myself am not great on days where there's a lot going on.
Honestly, it sounds to me like gravitating from, because maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, this is my attempt at a segue as well.
Okay.
But you kind of leveled up for yourself.
I did.
From something that you either didn't want to do or didn't feel comfortable doing or just wasn't your thing, to, like you said, I enjoy like the rapport building with somebody and taking their portrait in a more relaxed atmosphere or environment.
Right.
So for you, that's leveling up, where it might be leveling up for somebody to go into weddings.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be totally leveling up. If you're here, you're like, well, I shoot kids and families, but I've always been interested in adding weddings to my business, and then absolutely is leveling up. So I'm going to circle back around because I do this. But when I went part-time from the ad agency, and then I started my business as a photographer with children and families part-time, I started getting some traction pretty quickly, word of mouth stuff. So I would shoot a family, and then I would shoot all of their friends. And that just happened very quickly for me because everybody in Tallahassee knows each other, like we said. But then I started getting people connected to me through my work with the advertising agency. And they'd say, hey, I know you're doing this now. You know, like a friend of mine, his wife was working for the hospital in Tallahassee, and she said, we're looking for a photographer to take over for somebody who's not with us anymore, to do headshots of all the new doctors that come in.
Okay.
So I started taking those jobs, and that was great money, you know, really good supplemental income too when the weather wasn't good to shoot outside. Because again, I'm not shooting with any lighting. It's all natural light at this point. And so that went well, especially since the client wanted the pictures to look like Tallahassee. They wanted them to be outside. So I was like, sweet, you know, and then one day they asked me, they said, our board of directors is going to be having their meeting, and we need you to do a portrait of them as a group. And I went, great. And now I've been working for the hospital now for a while, and they've become a good client. And I've never told them no to anything. So I say, great. Yeah. So where we're going to do the picture outside, right? And they said, no, we'd like it in the boardroom. And I'm like, okay, great. So is there a window in the boardroom? And she kind of laughed at me, and she was like, I mean, no, it's in the basement. It's got mahogany walls, you know.
Yeah, because to them, they're not thinking.
No, it never occurred to her that I would need anything.
Right.
And it dawned on me that if I wanted to continue taking these type of jobs, and I absolutely did, because I couldn't deny that this was great supplemental income, the commercial side that was developing for my business, because I was getting referred to other places, law firms and other doctors' offices.
Result,
yes. That I needed to, what was I going to say every time somebody asked me to take a picture inside? Great. Is there a window for a group of 9 people? You know, and that's the day that I bought a couple of strobes.
There it was.
Yeah.
You needed that skill set.
Yes. And so that's what I mean is, like, it was very scary to switch from being an all available or natural light photographer using window light, which I have so much, in many ways, that is more difficult to be able to learn to train your eye to see light so that you can work with the light that's coming in and pull amazing. I have so much respect for it. However, if you also want to go, like I needed to go full time, the advertising agency was definitely not going to be around for much longer at this point. And it was a decision I had to make. I had to get comfortable with strobe.
You had to learn it.
And I started teaching myself and watching things online. And of course I was a member of PPA, and I started taking classes and getting as much hands-on experience. I joined my local affiliate in Tallahassee, and I joined the state affiliate, Florida Professional Photographers.
Nice.
Yeah, I just dove in because I found some fantastic mentors who really, really helped me.
Well, and I think that's a big piece of leveling up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting involved and being proactive with education. And not just, online education's great.
Yeah.
It really is. But it's not the same.
It's not.
Just like in-person education is not the same as learning things online at 2 a.m. in your room by yourself. Right. It's just not. They're totally different experiences.
There's I think that there's a balance between both. I think anyone who is a student I access my online education stuff, like with PPA EDU, for example, all of our members included with their membership have this huge library of instructional videos.
It's there.
Yeah, it's just there. And so anytime, there was a time where I was interested in learning more about real estate photography. I was going to have to take architectural photography is something I'm starting to get interested in, and some of my clients are asking for. So I had somebody ask me if that's something I could do. And this was fairly recently. And I said yes, because I know I can do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would not recommend that you just fly blind all the time and say, you know, but at this level at my career, I know that I would be able to do it. And I had a good idea of how I needed to accomplish it. And then I went and watched, I think, 4 videos on PPA EDU from Randy Van Dynen about some architectural photography. And used that and just went and did it. You know,
a good springboard.
Yeah. So I think that it's great when people want to add more tools to their bag so that they don't have to say no. Right. You know, it's not fear that's stopping them from not taking that job.
Right. And it's different if you find out later on that, no, I'm not a big fan of this type of photography. Right. Then you don't have to do it.
Right. Then you don't have to do it. But then it's a choice. It's not because you can't do it.
Right. And there's also skills and pieces of the learning experience that you can apply to other stuff.
Absolutely.
That you do like.
Absolutely. But so when I've been helping other photographers, for example, who are making transitions into things that they don't know how to do, or they're afraid to try, or they feel overwhelmed by, my advice has always been to limit the new thing. So if it's, I'm gonna try and get really good at posing women, for example. Okay, great. Then let's work on that. But don't also use a new type of light modifier.
Yeah. Don't
also bring in a new piece of furniture you've never shot on before. Right. Don't get a new background that you're also going to just try out. Like, the other things need to be knowns. You don't, because they need to be automatic. You don't need to be worrying about those things. And for me, I almost always fail when I give myself too many variables. Right. If there's one unknown, if there's other unknowns, I get hung up on.
Well, it's exponential too. Like it's that much harder. 3 unknowns is not equivalent to 1 + 1 + 1.
And there are small things that can be unknowns that you don't realize are going to trip you up. You know, for example, if it's a new background that you're using and you're also trying to learn some new posing techniques and master those, and you've never lit this background before, well, before you know it, you're spending all this time perfecting how the light is hitting the background, and you're, you know, now, and on top of that, you've also got to work on your posing. And again, I'm not talking about doing this on clients. I'm talking about when you're just doing some, when you're learning and you're just doing some personal projects. I mean, the job I'm talking about for the architectural thing, I went and shot several buildings on my own to get the technique down before I went and did the job.
So you mentioned personal projects. How often are you proactive with stuff like that?
I will probably shoot 6 to 8, sometimes 10 if I have time. This year I haven't had time, but I will try and do about that many personal projects a year in between my client work.
Really?
Yeah. But personal projects don't need to be these massive productions. When I mean personal projects,
because in my mind they are.
No, let's go small. Let's start small. I'm not saying now you're going to start shooting this epic work that needs to go into image competition and whatever, you know, don't, again, variables, right? I'm saying I got a new background. I got a new painted canvas background.
Okay.
All my other backgrounds have been paper or painted wall or, you know, muslin or something like that. But this was a look that I admired, that you see in Vanity Fair a lot, you know, that kind of raw edge canvas. And I got a few of these backgrounds.
Is it green or gray?
Yeah, like a green gray and a blue gray, and they're all very subtle. And you're like, but you look at them for a minute, you go, I could have painted this myself.
Like maybe. A Leibovitz or a
Bryce.
Yeah.
And then you photograph them, and you're like, oh, I get it. No, I couldn't have done this myself. Like, I'm actually not skilled in any other form of art.
There's more to it.
There's more to it than you get it, and you're like, is this okay? But and then it photographs beautifully. But there was some technique I had to learn about how they were going to photograph. And I certainly didn't want to like try that out on a client while I was also trying to meet a client need.
No, absolutely.
You know? So what comes out of that is a personal project because you got to shoot something on that background, right? That's a personal project. Small, it can start small, but I go big too. I shoot a lot of stuff that ends up in IPC, in International Photographic Competition, and I try not to give myself the pressure of this is for competition.
Okay. So you don't necessarily set time aside to shoot for competition?
Well, not normally. I probably should this year because I'm running a little short on time.
Sure.
Now, but I have tried 2 different ways to do this. So I have entered probably 50% of my merits through IPC and loans through IPC have been client work that I just looked at it. Now it might have
real stuff, so to speak.
Real stuff, but it might have been real stuff that I shot and then I gave some extra love to for the sake of image competition. Maybe not what I would have done for the client.
Sure.
But then the rest of it have been experiments.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to get a dark and moody dramatic lighting. And so I have my friend pose for it and it turns out great. And so, no, that wasn't for a client. That was for me trying out a lighting pattern, and then I get something really great out of it and then I'm able to use it and it ends up going loan. However, I have made several attempts to shoot for competition and really plan it out and get a model and hair and makeup and do the whole thing. And then I just colossally fail because it's like too much.
You put too much pressure on yourself?
I don't know. I don't know why that is. If I over plan, and this goes for client shoots for me too, but if I over plan for those, I almost always, something blows up in my face or it's just epically horrible. So
you have to learn. There's a certain amount of planning that works. There's a good balance.
There is a balance, but I do better flying by the seat of my pants a little bit.
Sure, I understand that.
But now there's the things that are that again they're not variables anymore. New things that I learned.
Right.
You working with strobe
because you know it now.
Because I know it now. I don't even think about it.
How often do you incorporate? So into the leveling up process, how often do you incorporate something like accountability with others, especially in your local guilds or your state guilds or even on a national level, considering how easy it is to talk to people? But do you ever get together with others and try to push each other or challenge each other?
Yes. So I've been really fortunate in Florida, or I'm just so fortunate to have such a great group of the local PPA affiliate there and then the state affiliate there.
Yeah.
So I have several friends in Tallahassee that we have gotten together and done challenges together. That might be, I'll give you a perfect example. So my friend Linda Long and Linda's also a photographer in Tallahassee. Linda and I had this idea where we would plan a shoot together, but we would do our own spin on the shoot. So we would have the same model. We would have the same dress or costuming or set, studio or on location. It would all be the same. And we would assist each other with whatever the other person needed.
Okay.
And we would shoot it on the same day, but we would do our own absolute own interpretations of what that would be. And maybe we would try something new for, to challenge ourselves.
Right.
But it was fun to plan together, like a collaborative shoot together. But the images that come out of it are completely ours, uniquely, because her style is totally different than mine. We're able to kind of share a shoot to do a personal project with. And then both of us come out with images that end up meriting at IPC.
Is that right?
Yeah, but we did, they're completely authored by us individually. It's the same model. It's the same place. It's the same time, but she's using a different kind of lighting than I'm using. I'm doing a whole other method. My girl's floating in the air and flying around, and her girl is, got her skirt blowing up, and it was just neat. It was just a neat.
How do you get over the competition piece? Not IPC
with
competition,
people in your town?
Yes.
Yeah. So before, when I guess I was in business maybe part-time for the better part of a year, and I had several people locally reach out, send me an email or say, hey, can I take you to lunch? We have this group that you should join. This is the Tallahassee Professional Photographers.
Right.
And I was real skeptical of going, because I thought, I felt, is this a trap? Or am I going to show up and they're going to all chew me out because
who knows what's going to happen?
Do you have any business being here?
Yeah.
I finally accepted an invitation to lunch, from one of those ladies, and she was just like, we've seen your name around, and we some of us share some clients with you, and which scared me, and we'd love for you to come to our meetings. We have this group, and it's been around for a really long time, and it's kind of had a resurgence, and we meet at this Mexican restaurant, and they're like, there's drinks, and we have a speaker come in, but mostly we hang out, and and so I went to a meeting. And I saw all these photographers that I'd heard their names. I knew their names, and they were all sitting together and they're talking. And I'm looking around going, they hate me. Like I'm walking in this room and I don't have any business being here because they're all somebody's, they're all known.
In your eyes, they were
my art. Yeah.
Established
and people I'd heard of. And
they knew each other.
And they seemed to all be friends. And our group is a little different. It was all women too. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 guys, but it was mostly a huge group of women. But then I sit down and have, a couple of beers with these ladies, and they're like, hey, welcome. Oh my God, we're so happy to have you here. And they were so great. And I developed such a fabulous network of other photographers in town. So like if something goes wrong, I drop a lens and I got a client walking in a minute. I have people in town I can call. I think what people have to remember is everyone needs photography. Everyone needs photography at every level, at every price point. Everybody needs photography. It's to some extent.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's enough work out there for all of us. And when you allow yourself to be friendly and network with the competition in your town and be on good terms with the competition that are in your town, things like referring back and forth happen all the time. I
feel like there's some people that would hear that and say, nope.
Well,
it's not possible.
And this is my experience, right. but it's not just my experience. This is stuff I hear from people all the time who participate at this level. And I think that's what's so great about the local groups too, because that's the coffee and donuts time, where you get to know people. But I'll give you examples. So I don't shoot weddings. So I could just, I get wedding inquiries, even though there's no weddings on my website,
Right.
And so, I never just say, no, I don't shoot weddings. Sorry.
Refer them.
Yeah. I say, I actually don't shoot weddings or events, but I have several photographers. Let me give you their names, and see if maybe they can get you in. But in the future, I would love to be able to work with you on any other portrait needs. I always leave that open.
Right.
Now, on the reverse, I have friends who don't shoot headshots. I have Tallahassee friends who don't shoot any headshots.
They'll send them to you.
And they shoot weddings, though. Yeah. Right? They don't have time to shoot headshots because they shoot so many weddings.
Right, sure.
Right? So they turn around and send them right to me exactly. And it's very balanced. It's very fair. There's, we share things around, and I don't know, there's a code maybe? I don't know.
One way to level up would be to get involved.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Kind of get over that fear.
Group learning is such a wise investment, especially, sitting in a group and listening to a speaker and having the opportunity, even if that speaker has to take off and leave, to sit around and then discuss what you all learned, and write down things that maybe you missed, is such an opportunity for growth and for leveling up. And I think maybe the first step to that being successful is you have to be open to it. You have to not go into it assuming, because I absolutely assume that nobody's going to want to share with me. Everybody hates me because I've taken some client from them.
Sure.
And it's going to be catty. So
right. And you know what? Honestly, worst case scenario, it's catty, and you turn around and leave.
Yeah.
That's like,
and you're no
case.
Worse for wear, right? Like you're no better. It's not
the risk reward is such that it just makes sense to give it a shot. It seems
really
to me.
Does. It really does. And here's the other thing that I think is so great. So when I worked at this agency, I worked in a big open space with a lot of other coworkers, and I had a department of other web designers, and each of us had a task or something that we would work on for certain projects. So we would all end up working together, talking, joking with each other throughout the day, but having that camaraderie that you have at work.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a pretty social person. And what ended up happening when that I didn't expect or think about when I started my own business, and when I kind of transitioned out of that industry, the ad industry, is it was lonely very lonely. I might not talk all day.
Interesting.
I might sit there and work all day at home at the time and not say a word to a single person.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming, and it was kind of devastating in a weird way.
Right.
You know, and I found I needed to have sound. I'd have TV on or something, you know, or music. And when I got to know the people in this group, which then opened me up to the state group, I developed friendships across the state. I mean, across the city and across the state. I have Linda, I keep bringing her up, but Linda and I would Skype and work at our desk, and she was 2 miles away at her studio.
And she's just got Skype on, and you just have Skype on.
And we have Skype on, and we're talking, and we're editing, and we're catching up, and we're having office conversations, and she's my competitor.
Right.
Okay? So, I mean, that's what I mean. Not everybody's out to get you.
Right.
Or wants you to fail.
Right.
You know? And I have now, I mean, I have other photographers in Florida that I Skype with. You know? Somebody will text me and they'll say, you know, something that's going on. And I'll say, you know, with their business, maybe there's an email that came through that they're like, oh, I've got to answer this email from this client. They're upset about something. And I'll be like, well, I'm on Skype if you want to pop on. I'm just editing if you want to bounce it off me.
Well, then you've used social media to really, I don't know, nurture community, so to speak. You have a Facebook group.
I have a Facebook group, yes, called Level Up, which is all about this. It's really about encouraging you to try those new things and to be open to doing stuff that you're not currently able to do or know how to do, but there's no reason you couldn't learn, right?
So that's Level Up on Facebook.
It's called Level Up with Kira Derryberry.
Okay.
Yeah, Level Up was pretty broad. You know, I think that's being used.
Right. It's probably out there a couple thousand times.
And yeah, maybe.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, I have this Facebook group, and I've encouraged people to post their own personal projects and things that they're trying to learn. Things they're uncomfortable with, and get other people to engage with them and answer questions. It's not a come to Kira Derryberry and learn and ask Kira questions and get her to tell you how to do stuff. That's not the point of the group. The point of the group is community learning, you know? And this year, what we're going to start doing is I'm going to start posting actual challenges, you know, actual things that we can all maybe try together if we choose to. And I'm not saying like it's Black and White Thursday, like, you know what I mean? Like, hashtag Black and White Thursday or whatever it is. I'm not going to do that because that group exists. Those group exists and are thriving and doing well. And I'm a part of those too, you know, but I'm going to say, hey, this week, I'm going to try a large light source, large softbox.
Okay.
Not a specific one, not a like you should use this brand and this kind and this whatever, but any large light source. And I'm going to try to achieve this effect. I'm going to create soft, natural looking light, but it's going to be controlled by a softbox.
So specific and maybe a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Or out of the blue.
Just a challenge like that.
Right.
Can you create a natural looking light with a strobe?
Right.
You absolutely can. And because I think there are photographers out there who are there like, well, my style, I shoot natural light because I like the softness of it and I like the fall off and I like how unobtrusive it is. And okay, great. Sometimes it rains.
Yeah.
But you don't want to change your style, right? You don't want to change the way that your work looks because it rained and you suddenly had to switch over to strobe. Well,
and going at this from your angle also calls people out a little bit when they're really saying that because I'm afraid to learn.
Yeah, I am
anything else.
Shoot natural light, but make it a choice.
Right.
You know, not because you don't know how to do anything else. Because you can certainly create, if it's the look of natural light that you're a fan of, you can create it yourself.
Sure.
You can have it controlled, you can create it yourself, and you can use it. Trust me, if I can shoot available light, I would prefer to do it. Because I don't have to carry all that stuff out there with me.
That's the biggest barrier.
Yeah.
There's all the stuff you have to
carry. So many of my my seniors, when we go on location, so there are times where I'm dragging a wagon of stuff out there with me. dragging a wagon.
I love it.
And then sometimes I'm just out there with my camera. And something to stand on because I'm short.
Yeah.
So, and a reflector.
Right.
You know, so, but yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't, I'm not trying to call anyone out, but maybe I am a little bit. It's we don't have to limit ourselves.
I think you should own it. I think you should say, I'm trying to call people out a little bit. And I'm saying this for myself because I'm the dude in the sweatpants.
Yeah.
That'll go to the door.
Sure.
And I love your call to action regarding community and challenging yourself with new things. And I liked what you said. Make your natural light skill set a choice.
Right.
And I could apply that to so many other things. Like, make it a choice. Like, right now, you do things a certain way because it's all you know how to do.
Right.
But make it a choice by acquiring other skills.
Absolutely. Shoot with intent. Not everything. I think for a while when I first started, I thought I was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I know a thing or two. But a lot of it was a happy accident. Whether if you'd asked me then, I would have said no.
Right. That's all skill, baby.
Yeah, no, it's because I have such an eye. It's unbelievable. I just live and breathe art, and it just comes out of me. No. I mean, but I think a lot of people go really far on happy accidents, and that is okay until it isn't. Until
they dry up.
Right. You can only be lucky so often.
Right.
So why not have a little insurance, and shoot with intent and purpose.
I love it. This was great. This is like chock full of inspiration and information together.
Yeah. I walked in the door today and I was like, I have been going all day and I don't know, but you got some stuff.
I think so. We have a lot of great content here. Now we have 2 more days.
We have 2 more exciting, fun-filled days.
Yeah, they're going to be 2 big days.
Yes, 2 big days. Tomorrow is awards day. Tomorrow evening.
Yeah,
There's a lot of awards going on, so we've got that, and we've got our council meeting happening. That's another thing that I wasn't really aware of.
Oh, council.
Yeah, I think a lot of our members aren't really aware.
I think you're right
of how that works. But we have state representatives that are voting on things on behalf of the membership, and so every year we have this council meeting. And that should be pretty exciting too. And we've got elections for new board members coming up. And so tomorrow morning is, for me anyway, everybody else are going to go to programming and learn.
Right. You got work.
I got to go to work tomorrow, but I love doing it. I got to sit in on some pre-cons. I've been here since Thursday. So I got to sit in on a few pre-cons that were fantastic. And if people aren't taking advantage of that, because that's really where you get small classes and ask those questions.
Right. It's more interactive.
Much more interactive. So I got my education time in here, and I'm excited about that. But tomorrow is awards night, and then we've got Tuesday. My program's on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah. So I almost forgot. We have so many things going.
You got a platform coming
I have a platform. I'm doing a demo. Yeah. And so that's on Tuesday. And I'm sure when this comes out, it'll be long gone.
Yeah. It will.
Thank goodness.
It will be. But you know what? There's going to be another one next year.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So, but that's Tuesday. And then we have closing party. And then I have another board meeting. And it just doesn't stop. Sometime I'll go to sleep.
So you're going to go home and sleep is what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Like, this weekend will be a weekend of sweatpants and sleep.
Yes.
Maybe leveling down.
That would be great. That would be great. If we could just staying at the same. If we could just stay at the same, just with no pressure to move forward in any capacity, that would be awesome.
Yeah, just maintain.
We just maintain. Okay. Steady.
Well, you know what? I really appreciate your time. This was great.
This was
especially
so
to take it out of your busy schedule. You got a lot going on,
That's
more than most here. So thank you for that. It was excellent, and it was a pleasure. Very informative and entertaining at the same time. So thank you.
Good. Goal achieved.
And have a good rest of the convention.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.